Yeah, so the question, should you wait or should you buy, is really just knowing that you are able to do it, whether that's in the high cycle or the low. If you can do it and do it
Dollars on our
comfortably,
mind.
that is the right time to buy.
Ideas all the time. We might get distracted, but we're building wealth just fine. This is dollars and distractions. If we went off track, just know we're coming back. More money, more mindset, no holding back. Dollars and distractions.
Hey, I'm Maryanne,
And I'm Bec.
and this is Dollars and Distractions.
So today I'm picking a topic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it might be a bit relevant to what is happening at the moment. So the topic is, should I buy now or wait?
Yes. Interesting topic because you're just about to buy.
Right? Right. Yeah.
All right, cool. So let's
See, good point, because I suppose I've run this through my head. If you had have asked me 3 months ago or 4 months ago, I think I was said to you as well, um, that I wouldn't be buying because I think the rate that the housing prices were going to crash, and then I'm going to buy in that, and then
and I think there's a lot of people that will be thinking that as well.
yeah,
So it's probably, what went through your head for the last 3 months up until still now, maybe, is what everyone would be thinking. Well, not everyone. A lot of our clients are thinking.
yeah,
So it's probably interestingly enough, it was a couple weeks ago where I said to my husband, right, we need to start getting ready so that we can buy something.
yeah,
Because and I don't think this will necessarily happen, but if there is a drop in the market, I want to be in the best position to scoop in and buy something.
But isn't it interesting? Because then I think not everybody would be thinking the way that we think. Is that because we're finance? Like most people are. This is a generalization, but wouldn't most people be going, this is like, let's just sit tight?
Down the hatches.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think that's why, and to be honest with you, in the years that have gone by, the last thing I would have been thinking was, let's get ready just in case.
Yeah.
Because we were very cautious, very careful. I think we've taken a couple risks along the way that we've seen the payoff long term now. We can look back and say 2020 when COVID hit, that's when we bought a property, right when things were shutting down and everyone was getting nervous, right before everyone then went, let's go buy, and property prices skyrocketed. And we definitely benefited off that.
Yeah.
So we, in a matter of months, we just watched the property we purchased go up and up in value because everyone then got confident and started buying.
Yeah.
So I think making a few of those decisions along the way has showed us that we are going to be okay. And this is a very unique thing. It's not me saying to everyone or anyone listening, go take risks, you're going to be okay, everything will be fine.
Yeah.
I think I'm always saying, when you feel ready and you find the right home, that's the right time.
Yeah. Absolutely. But I think too, like, or, we talk about our algorithms with socials and things like that. Like, I think if you were buying into the algorithm at the moment of what's the budget and the rates, like this week they were on pause. So it's, I think in your head you'd be going, oh, this is a reprieve, or what does this mean? Yeah. Like, what does it mean?
Yeah.
We're all going to have different takes on it because there is no clear project
So everybody knows.
trajectory.
Trajectory.
Why does it always come up though?
Not sure. Maybe we should change the dictionary.
Yeah, trajectory of what's going to happen. So we're all just kind of filling blanks.
Two things come to mind when we talk about that, though. So firstly, the algorithms, we know that Meta is showing you what you interact with.
Yeah.
So if you're interacting and, hey, you bought into one or two reels that talk all doom and gloom, it's going to show you 10 more of those.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, just 5 minutes of doom scrolling and you're in a different mindset of the whole world's going to crap, we're all going to crap, everything's crap.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, if you've got your algorithms where you're looking at maybe some buyers agents who have a positive view and some accountants that are like, okay, well, yes, this is the budget, this is what you can do, and this is what it means for you long term. You're going to be your 5 minutes of doom scrolling is going to leave you in a different mindset.
Yeah.
So I think on that, you're absolutely right. Bearing in mind your algorithm is just showing you what you're interacting with. I spoke to another broker last night, I think it was, and I had texted her after we had a chat and I said, right, now go onto Instagram, watch 3 cat or goat or cow videos over and over and over again and reset your algorithm.
Yeah.
And then it will just show you dogs and cats and animals doing fun things, and that can be a little bit of a refresh because it was getting her algorithm was getting very political.
Funny, isn't it?
Ironic, because so does mine sometimes.
And lives are so ruled by algorithms.
That we don't like we know it, we don't even know it.
No, we do not.
Yeah, so you gotta be really careful with
Which sidetrack, like that scares me for our next generation, hey, because they're very literal and they don't, we're like the generation that have experienced life without algorithms. So we can kind of pull it back a bit and go, oh, like this is not great. But for them, this is all they're going to know.
it's kind of sad because part of me, like with the whole what's going on in politics, I have a particular view. You know it. I'm not gonna.
I have no views. I'm not political.
Well, I had a particular view, but I want Instagram and Facebook, I want them to show me everything because I don't want to be brainwashed to continue thinking my view.
Yeah.
I want to be open to, okay, this is your view, how to look at this, how to look at how this person got to this decision. And then I want to be able to go, ah, I can see, I can't see that, or I can see that, just so I can.
Yeah.
I think as humans, we need to be shown different sides of everything so that we can start making educated decisions. I think also there's a lot of, sometimes there can be outside noise.
A lot of it.
Yeah. So there'll be people,
The days once they sit at a barbecue, though, you can hear more than the other, right? And they're always right.
and it's so funny because as a mortgage broker, when I'm at said barbecue, because I know this has happened before,
Yeah.
where say a family member or someone will say, this, you should do this, and I'm sitting there as the mortgage broker who may not be qualified in what they're talking about, but I am all qualified. Or I know enough to know that you can't actually give that advice. I'm sitting there like, what do I say? And I don't end up saying anything.
Even the house that we just brought, even when we were looking at it, I know like someone I know, was saying, don't spend over this amount because this is all it is. And then I was like, well, no, like I do know, like that this house I researched, like,
Yes.
yeah, I didn't want to overpay, but I didn't want to, be whatever. But the amount that they were saying was very low. And I thought,
And you wouldn't have got it for that price.
oh, I would, yeah, you wouldn't have, like, yeah,
But it's interesting because also you look at, so that person had that view, that's fine.
yeah,
But if they're looking for a place to live and to try and get into the market, unless you're looking at the market and you're researching and you know what's going on, you don't know. Brisbane market is different to Sydney or Melbourne,
yeah.
you know?
Which is a good sort of segue to say, though, that I think this part of like is where you need people like us in your corner too, because, when even buying my own place lately, the property reports, like doing the research on places before having the pre-approval done before.
I have a little rouse at this client because, as you know, because Beck, you see firsthand what stress that can put on the broker. And I try to be really honest and upfront and say, look, we didn't have a pre approval in place. This is not maybe not going to meet the timeline that you're aiming for. And they say, yeah, that's fine. If we need an extension, I'll let you know. And then when I'm calling to say, hey, we need an extension, and I get it, this is how the market works. They'll call me back and say, there's other people wanting to buy. The agents told me I'm not going to get an extension. I need this by 5 o'clock today. And then there's that much pressure put on my shoulders for a lot of things that are outside of my control.
Yeah.
So when I had a couple of these files on the go this week, and then a client called me and say, look, I know I've been trying to get stuff to you for the pre-approval. I will get it, but I'm going to look at this property tonight and I want to make an offer. And I put my mum pants on and got a little bit stern. And then we jokingly hung up with him going to make an offer. But I just don't think that unless you're in this industry, you don't know what goes on behind the scenes and what kind of stress and pressure that puts on not just you, but also the agent. How the agent's like, well, do I go to this other offer? Do I go to do I run open home this weekend? He's got, or he or she has a client that they have to answer to as well. So it kind of it's a flow on effect for everyone.
Absolutely.
And to your point, yes, you didn't have a pre-approval in place, but we had workshopped your application.
Yeah, and again, because I had the tools there to work out our own borrowing capacity, and I knew our circumstances being the finance background. I think if you didn't, I wouldn't have done that if I hadn't have, knowing that there was, yeah, a likelihood or whatever. But I think going back to should you buy or should you wait, I have definitely seen over the last 3 or 4. This again is just my opinion because we just talked about people's opinions.
Yeah.
But there's definitely been a down, like a turn where we were looking for properties in the last 12 months. It was very much who got in there first? What was your terms like? Like
And then we're just going to cherry pick the best one.
yeah, and that client that you're talking about, in his head, he may still be going, well, that's still quite competitive, in this.
And if I'm being honest, in his bracket that he's looking, it's the kind of price bracket that first home buyers need to get into the market. So like, yeah,
So I think in
absolutely.
that lead on it, I think people haven't stopped buying. People haven't stopped buying, and I think it has actually, well, from what I've seen, it is taking a bit of a downturn in terms of rates haven't drastically dropped, but you do have more. Well, I think we had more. um I don't know what's the word, like ability to not go, I'm going to overpay for this property just to get it. But maybe that was the price bracket we brought into, but I didn't, there was no, to me, there was no competitiveness, which,
Yeah, we even more that way. I had a property that you were arguing about, yeah, and there wasn't much competition on that one either.
no, but we had made offers in the past on things that were very much like, oh no, you may be and in my mind too, I was prepared to overpay 12
Yeah.
months ago, and I think everyone was because
Can we talk through your mentality behind that? Because I know you explained to me why, if you did slightly overpay, you were okay to an extent. Obviously, we're not talking, yeah, massively overpay. But yeah, what was your mentality behind that?
my mentality was more from no podcast, I think emotion over brain.
Yeah.
I think walking to the house that we did buy, it was a forever house, whereas the house that you're talking of prior, where I was like, it's okay if it goes through, it doesn't go through. Um, I I didn't foresee myself living in that place
Long term.
20, 25 years to retirement, but this house that we did buy, I absolutely see it. Um, One, I see it's worth its money. Two, I will live there for a long time and it will get us through as a family lots of stages in life. So if I overpaid, two things went through my head. We're in a cycle. To me, property cycles every 10-ish years. By the time I retire, that's a couple of cycles in there. And this is just my opinion, but I thought, yep, we might be on the way down, but it will always come back up. Like, property always comes back up. Like you said, Melbourne crashing right now. To me, that's a great time to buy.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah.
You forgot to add one more thing. I think it's number 4 that you've got really cool neighbors as well.
Yes. Summer lives down the street.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just, I don't know. I think if you find the right place, is there a good or a bad time? Like, if you can afford it, which you need to talk to your broker about, because that's, you need to be okay with the fact that
What are the repayments look
what other payments? Yeah. Is my rent very similar to that? Or what's the extra that I have to pay to have my own place?
It fit me, it's cutting back on, luxuries of life. Am I okay with that? And if not, great. If so, great.
Yeah. And this house that we brought wasn't going to be a 5 year, you know, gonna live in it, flick it, and make money. That was not my intention. So to me, if you're gonna live in it for a long time, I don't know if there is a right or a wrong time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was how I justified.
And like the house couple stores down, it's very similar. So It's a unique property. So when we bought it, I was like, how did we know if we're paying or underpaying? And I tried to do the math on, so it's two titles on one block with a house over the two titles. So you'd need to bulldoze the house, and then this is what went through my head. It would be worth, if you bulldoze the house and sold the 2 blocks of land just as is, that's technically what it's worth.
Yeah.
So if you budget 150K to knock the house down and remove the debris, how much would those 2 blocks of land sell for?
Yeah.
And up the street, a little bit closer to the water, but up the street, there was 2 blocks for sale for over 880,000.
Yeah.
Same size, same deal, but closer to the water.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, by the time I've done that, I've covered my costs and a little bit, assuming that the blocks of land a bit further away from the water would sell for less. So I'm like, does it matter if I'm open paid?
That's right.
If in my head I can do all of that and go, I'm still kind of covering my costs, stuff like, let's buy it.
Yeah, and I think you can, I think like, so the topic, should you buy or should you wait? I think you can overcomplicate that too much as well. Like,
Yeah.
I think there's so much noise going on about rates and budgets and whatever. Just keeping it simple, like, can I,
Blocking out that amplifier noise. Yeah, I did a reel about that a couple of weekends ago,
yeah,
where, all this stuff could be happening, and sometimes you've just got to look inside and go, okay, how am I feeling?
Yeah.
What's my gut and intuition telling me?
yeah,
If it's telling me it's right, then block out that noise.
yeah. And also go in, if you've got the confidence, knowing that, yep, it's in your reach, you can afford it, then it it will always come back up. And then I was thinking this morning on my walk, because it's just read, I think randomly, but I was thinking it's the same as when you buy in a high market. If you already have a property, you sell in a high market, you buy in a high market. So, and same as low, right? You sell in a low market, you're going to buy in a low market. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, you might take a loss on the house that you sell, well, not a loss, because the property's been so.
But all right, you might take what you think it's a loss because it was worth that. Now you're selling it for this, but then you're getting a property that would have been worth this and is now you're buying it for that.
Yeah, and and it might not be the same with all different prices, but in my experience buying recently, there wasn't as much competition. So when you go to buy that new place, there might not be as many people there that so it could be a great time to be doing it. As well. Depends on how you look at it.
I remember mid-COVID, I had a client say to me, our property's worth so much now, we're palmed. We're going to sell it and then just wait for the market to crash and then buy back in. And they didn't. But I can't say don't do it, do it. But in my gut, I was like, ooh, that's a heavy call.
It is.
Especially when you look at the last 2 years, property prices. I'm going to pull some figures out of my backside. So please don't anyone take this as gospel. But let's say property prices went up 150% or 100%. They double. Let's say they double. What would that be? 100%?
But they kind of have.
They kind of have. So let's say 100%. And then you listen to the news and they say property prices have fallen by 5%. Okay, they're still up 95%.
Mm.
So if you had a sold, put it in a bank account and waited for it to drop, and the drop is now, if the drop's now, we don't know, don't have a crystal ball, you're actually still behind.
And reflecting on that, what the last 12 months, Brisbane prices have gone up, in different areas different, but on average 20%. So
That's crazy.
if you already had a property and it has increased, you're not actually losing that, because it was all just a gain anyway.
Yes.
So if you lose part of that to buy something you were thinking of buying anyway, then it doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah,
But
good point.
yeah,
So I guess the other thing I wanted to just quickly touch on is when, this sounds so woo woo, but we are a little bit woo woo, so we'll go then. I feel like when in your gut, it feels like the right time. And then everything just kind of falls into place that you're like, oh, we talked about this yesterday, but I know with the house we bought, or the place we bought, when I walked on the block, something inside of me just went, this is it, you're buying this. And I had no idea how we were going to make the finances work. Unlike you, I hadn't been planning on, but in fact, we were like, still, Lou, we're going to live debt free for a little bit, but things changed. Anyway, so I walked onto the property and I went, I don't know why, but this is the house that we need to buy. And then we got the finance. And even as the mortgage broker, I was like, I don't actually, I haven't looked at my profit and loss lately. I don't know. I haven't done borrowing capacity. I have no idea. It all fell into place. Bang, 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 bang. It all happened. And I was like, That to me is just the universe going, this sounds so corny, but universe going, no, no, yeah, yeah, yeah. I gave you that feeling. You ran with it. I'm making it happen for you. This is meant to happen for you.
Absolutely. I think things open up like that.
And I feel like it happened for you as well.
Yeah.
In the same
Yeah, I kind of knew with that. We looked at it the first time. I loved it. And then I thought maybe this is out of our reach or whatever. And then we went for the second weekend viewing, and people we knew, a couple were there that we knew. And I remember saying to Rich, I was like, I was devastated. I'm like, what if they offer more than we'd already made an offer? And then he kind of, off the back of that, he goes, you really love this house. Like, you can tell how disappointed you were in thinking that that couple that we saw there were going to get it. And that's how, like, he knew that that's how and then I stopped. I'm like, yeah, I guess I do really,
you needed that.
yeah.
So the universe was like, what is it? There's a competition there just to remind you how much you
Do I really, really
that-
want it?
I think that first property that you saw, that you're like, it's like, hey, I'm not willing to go above this for it. I think that property was more about showing you that you do want this.
And to note that, like, if in the market right now, should you buy or should you wait? Someone did pay more than, yeah, so our buyers out there. Yeah, there are people still buying, and if that house ticked their boxes and that was their forever house, then I don't think people have stopped buying. So I think if you think that people are, you know, like, there's still a right.
We're not saying people, if we look at the board, how many would be refinances? Many would be purchases?
Probably 50, 50.
Fitty, yeah, 6, 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say 50-50.
Yeah.
Which I feel was a stage not long ago, it was more refinances,
Yeah. Well, which will be like a month or so, month or two.
a lot more relaxing.
Yeah. But even saying that, if you looked at it from I think we were talking about this being a pessimist or an optimist, like, at right now, this is gonna make, if I went back to the GFC time, remember when, and don't take my advice, whatever the disclosure is.
Yeah, please note, this is for entertainment purposes.
But everyone freaked out when those super dropped, remember, and the shares dropped. And but if you, on reflection, we look back and go, I remember with DBA shares, you'd be like, man, they dropped to like $50, and when you had shares, it was devastating because you're. But if you look now in reflection, I thought, why didn't we buy more?
I was going to say, wouldn't you love to get them for $50 now?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So now if the property's in that cycle, instead of going like that GFC time where like the world is ending, maybe it's an optimist time to go, this is pretty cool, especially for first home buyers. Like, it probably might be coming down a little bit. Yeah, there are schemes and things, but that's where it's important to chat to us as well to get where you're at, because I don't think it's doom and gloom.
I definitely don't think it's too.
No, I think the media or whoever is making it do, but I really don't think it is.
So there's always going to be some kind of hype up in the media. There was COVID, then there was the fixed rate cliffs, then there's the budget. There's always something that they're talking about and drumming up, and absolutely being mindful of what's going on. But I would be looking at, what are the repayments? Can I afford that in my lifestyle? And then get the pre-approval and then find a house that your gut says this is home. That's when the right time to buy is.
Yeah, it says the question, should you wait or should you buy, is really just knowing that you are able to do it, whether that's in the high cycle or the low. If you can do it and do it comfortably, that is the right time to buy.
Yeah.
Dollars on our mind.
Yeah. That's a wrap. That is a wrap.
Ideas all the time. We might get distracted, but we're building wealth just fine. This is dollars and distractions. If we went off track, just know we're coming back.